Welcome to Parenting Tips with Dr. Glow on the WDKX podcast network, where the conversation never ends. I'm reminding you that education is in my DNA. Time magazine printed an article a little while back, and it talked about the importance of our children or our youth and their mental health. I am recording this in the month of July, and June was Mental Health Awareness Month. And due to minor surgery, I've been delayed in recording this particular podcast. James Black, who is non binary, who is a person that has advocated for teens and youth, especially for those who are in the LGBTQ plus community. And he is the CEO, and I should say they is the CEO of what's called the Trevor Project. The Trevor Project is an organization that helps to support queer youth and especially those who are becoming adults so that they are not at risk of committing suicide. He, along with others who work with youth in the LGBTQ plus community, are strongly involved in ensuring that we as parents, mom and dad, are very, very, very in tune with the value of one thing that can help our child, our youth, our teen, our young adult to emerge with a strong mental health. And you will probably be floored by the one thing. What's that one thing? When there's a crisis, when there's a challenge, when there's something going on in their lives, if they're able to connect with one supportive adult, yep, an ally, a person who is non judgmental, has unconditional love to them, that makes the biggest difference. I have a friend whose child attempted suicide 3 times. Yeah, yeah. And the third time was the severest with hospitalization. And what is now known is if there was that one adult in that child's life, there would have been a difference. That particular child is an adult now, has completed college, has a bachelor's degree, is a licensed clinical social worker and therapist, and actually is teaching others. I applaud that young adult and I celebrate them and value the fact that, in spite of her LGBTQ plus moniker, as some people would say, that is something that I celebrate every time I talk to them. I am telling you right now, I've had students in my classes who have confided in me. And after confiding in me about what's going on in their lives, when they say, "You're the only one that I've been able to tell this to, and you didn't change toward me." And it hit me based upon James Black as the CEO and their commentary in the Time magazine article. So if we want to prevent suicide, and yes, most of us are familiar with the 988 number, mom and dad, and other supportive adults. If we want to help to prevent suicide among this community, among these young folks here in this country, we have to understand that even though they've transgendered, even though they are in relationships that may not be strong and positive, we do not want, and as statistics have said, 72% will consider suicide because how they've been treated. And those who did not commit the suicide deemed the number one thing that made the difference was having an adult in their lives that was supportive and one who they could talk to without judgment. So, even though Black works with mostly queer youth and caregivers who are involved in the lives of these youth, they say that they also are working with those who are straight. I don't have the statistics, and the article did not talk about the straight youth, but do understand our children deserve, if they're not comfortable with us, and I'm telling you now, I had my children when they were teens and they talked to some adults who were very dear friends or family members. They were able to feel comfortable with them about certain topics they weren't comfortable with me. And I was okay with that. So that mental health is just as important as that physical health. We take them for their annuals, for this and for that, but we have to ensure that we are being able to support them or have a responsible, supportive adult in their lives. I've talked about this when it came to the general population, but today I'm talking about the LGBTQ plus community. So the question should be, how do we approach that relationship? You yourself could be supportive to another teen who is in the queer community. But seriously, the biggest thing is to listen, to allow unconditional love to happen, and to not pass judgment. Those two things. Why is it important? Well, we have a population in which these young people will become professionals, whether in the medical, legal field, whether teachers, whether lawmakers, whether judges, doesn't matter. They may become our mechanic. We want them to have a strong mental fortitude. We can make a difference. I purposefully make a difference. I have family to this day who are in the LGBTQ plus community. I have coworkers I have worked with and who are dear friends to this day. And there are questions I ask them straight up. And there are times I get calls from them, and one in particular just recently with a situation that happened to them, and seeking my advice and what would I do. I say this with a lot of compassion and a lot of love, that any person who is walking this earth is a human being. Their lifestyle, their behaviors, their whatever decisions, we may not all agree with. But one thing is, they are human. And because they are human, we need to be concerned about their well being. I would want someone to be concerned about my well being. I know this is not the best of topics, but it's one that I value, and I hope you will embrace the subject matter I've discussed today. Thank you for listening to Parenting Tips with Dr. Glow on the WDKX Podcast Network, where the conversation never ends. Question: where and how can you make a difference in the life of someone whose lifestyle is not the same as yours?